So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Biz Talk. This show is brought to you by Circulate, and as you should know by now, Circulate is all about increasing the length of time and the number of times that the pound stays within the Black community. And as you know, we bring guests of people doing stuff in the Black community and globally, who are touching markets, changing lives globally. We bring them to this session to offer education, inspiration, and motivation to all of those who are listening. My name's Adi Shukoya. I'm the host who just brings you this conversation, but this conversation is never about me, it's about the people who are doing this stuff. And today I'm really honored to have a heavyweight. You have some heavyweights, like when it comes to boxing, when you talk about heavyweights, you talk about Mike Tyson or those type of people. Although he doesn't bite ears, this guy is a heavyweight. I remember the first time I met him, which was, I think was about 97, 98, after UPW, when I volunteered to crew with Success Resources at some Tony Robbins and T. Harv Eker events. And I saw him. And the way he just used to move and articulate, I was still really rough around the edges at that time. Yes, some of you know my background story. So to see a Black man who was able to move in those circles and articulate and carry himself in such a way was very impressive to me. It was like, wow, okay, is that possible? And then I had the honor of serving underneath him at Yes Group. So big shout out to all those people under Yes Group. And over the years, I've had an opportunity to watch and see him have significant impact globally on many people's lives. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the show, Mac Attram. So Mac, thank you very much for joining us.
Wow, Ade, thank you very much for inviting me onto your show. And it's a pleasure to be here and serve and to be able to add any little thing that I can add. So thank you. I mean, you mentioned Anthony Robbins and Success Resources and T. Harv Eker and all these. It took me some Yes Group memories, making impact like we did back in the day. And you're still doing it, which is fantastic. Well done. Well done.
Like I said, I'm inspired by people like you. So, there's some things that we learn on those journeys that it creates the art of the possible. But before we get deeper into that conversation, for those people out there who might be watching right now who don't know who you are, can you just quickly tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you came to be here?
Sure. Thank you very much, Ade. So I suppose today I'm, for the last 15 years, I've trained and coached hundreds of thousands of people internationally. In fact, over 30 countries, to help them to grow on the personal development level, to help them to grow their wealth, as well as to help them to grow their business, typically growing their business anywhere between, on average now, the type of clients we're working with, between 20% and 200% increases in less than a year, depending on the type of business and where they are in their business. That's the business side of things. That's the training and coaching side of things. My wife and I also own several businesses as well. But my big thing is that where, for me, wealth is very much more about my family. This year, I've been married to my wife for 21 years. We've been married 21 years this year, and 3 children. So they keep me on my toes. And for me, that's my greatest pride and joy outside of business and money and wealth, all that kind of stuff.
Wow, I mean, like I said, but once again, congratulations to both yourself and Linda and to the family. And it's beautiful to hear you say that actually, that's your big why, that's your key motivator, and that's how you measure your success, even though you're having such success at a global level. And we'll go into that a little bit more. But before we start talking about that, so you share the stage with the likes of, Tony Robbins, the T. Harv Ekers, the Les Browns, the Robert Kiyosakis, big heavyweights. How did that come about for you?
It's a great question you asked there. It was a lot of journey of self-discovery. I mean, not too long ago, I came to a place where I was completely broke. So this is probably about 18 years ago, where I had a small little computer company, working hard in that company, trying to make it work. And I found myself, because it was my very first company, found that I really didn't know what I didn't know. And there's a lot of stuff missing. And at that time, my wife was pregnant with our second child.
How did that come about?
I was hardly around. I found myself in over 100,000. I measure it in dollars in those days, so I speak internationally, so I keep it dollars. I was over $100,000 in debt and money that I owed people. And what had happened that day was I had two business partners who were working with me, and they absconded. They left the business. They took a lot of, they really, I mean, left the business in a mess. So now I'm trying to catch up, pay debtors and everything else. The stress was really taking its toll on me. Health was deteriorating. My wife's now pregnant with our second child. And for a number of years, I wasn't even around much to see our first child growing up, and hardly seen her. And came to a point where I thought, is this it? How did I get here where my business is not working? I'm broke. I'm in debt. My health is deteriorating. My relationship's not that great. And how did I get here? What happened? In that moment, I realized there's a lot of things I didn't know. And that's when I started going to workshops and seminars and Yes Group and Anthony Robbins, like you did, like all these things to just improve. Because I wanted to understand, how do successful people, other successful people deal with money, with business, with relationships, with happiness, with wealth. And I went on that journey, and in less than 2 years, I was able to fix my situation. My business, I fixed that and I sold that business. I then started investing in other businesses and investing in real estate property. My wife and I built a multi-million-pound real estate property business. We still own that, amongst other businesses. And so the journey, you see, Ade, when I was struggling and when things weren't going right, you know, the amount of times I'll stop and I'll pray and I think, God, let me find a way. Please show me a way. This suffering, and so thank goodness some teachers or coaches, if you want to call them that, came my way, and the right workshops came my way, and I adapted and I took note, and things changed for me. And I made a vow, I made a commitment to the Almighty that if I could find a way to change my situation, then I'm going to commit the entire rest of my life helping as many people around the world have exactly the same thing. More happiness, more success, more joy, more wealth, more whatever it is important to them. And so my mission back in 2005 became this, that for the rest of my life as I live is to inspire, educate, and empower people to live a life of joy, courage, passion, and purpose. So since then, anything I get involved with, if it fits my mission, I'll do it. If someone asks me to do something and it doesn't fit mine, I'm going to leave it. So when Ade says, hey, we're doing this, come on, of course, Ade is a friend of mine and it's going to make a difference for people, I'll do it because it fits my mission. There's been many years gone by where I'll get involved in so many different things and I'll be spinning my wheels and things weren't working. Why? Because I was doing the wrong thing. It wasn't on purpose. And sometimes those things were just for money. It wasn't on purpose. But when I found when I'm doing things purposefully, things seem to work much better. And I've lived by that vow since 2005, since I've been living like that. So how did I end up sharing the stage with people like Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, Arveka, Brian Tracy, all these people? The moment, what happened was in 2006, 2007, I was doing some training and by that time I'd fixed 2007, I fixed my financial situation. People kept asking me, Matt, can you help me? So I'd work with people one-on-one, with your business, do this, do this. So I've been through it. I've been through the headache. Don't do it, do it this way. So then I'll run little small workshops, little tele-seminars. And I was doing that for a couple of years. In 2009, what happened was I thought I'm playing too small. I mean, there must be bigger than this. In 2009, that's when Yes Group, I got involved in a Yes Group. So I was there as a volunteer, helping out like we did. And in 2009, they asked me to, I think it was the very same year that Obama was inaugurated into the White House. Right. I was going to become the chair of the Yes Group. So that was my Obama moment, right? And so now the Yes Group, people don't know, it's a personal development organization, highly recommended, because these are a group of people who, and the whole ethos is about growth and contribution. You growing personally and having the ability to contribute to wider society and other people. So, unbeknownst to me, what happened was the owners of the world's largest seminar company happened to be in the room one evening when I was doing a talk. And then we got into a conversation afterwards, and somehow they invited me to come to Holland, come to Germany, to come to these countries. And I thought, wow, I've got time in my hands. I'm living my mission, it fits. And that's how I got involved with all these other top speakers, sharing the stage with all these people. So synchronicity coupled with God's work that I'm supposed to be doing, if that makes any sense. Some people find themselves, they're supposed to be an architect. Some people find themselves, they're supposed to be a preacher. Some people will find themselves that they're really great at technology, like you. You know, you're very good at technology. You understand technology from a business standpoint. You know, you put effort, time, and some of it is natural. Some of it you've dedicated study time to. And so that's how that happened. I think there's a lot of synchronicity, right time, right place, as well as having some ability to communicate.
Wow. I mean, first of all, I thank you for being so authentic in that share. Having myself been through some challenges at various points in my life, I know what you're talking about there. And even as I share with people, having over the last couple of years going through some personal challenges, trust me, I'm trying to come back out of that. But that's very inspiring. And I think many people who are watching right now are going to be inspired by that and recognizing actually you're not out until you give up. And as long as you stay in the game, and you mentioned some key words there, which I'd like to explore with you, purpose. Once you can align yourself with purpose, then things start falling into place. Let's talk a bit more about purpose. How do people go about finding purpose who might find themselves in a space which right now, especially with all that's happening globally, we all know what's happening globally, they might have lost their business, might have lost their job, and right now it's just like it's a dark space. How do people even start to find their purpose that will help catapult them forward to in future be able to, you know, move beyond where they currently are?
Thank you, Ade. For me, it was I actually went on a course to study that. So I came to a place, as I said earlier, when I was lost, I was broke, things weren't working. What am I supposed to be doing in my life? IT and the computer business wasn't really a purpose for me. And so the way to do it, there are many books, there are many teachers, coaches who can help you with that. So either get the book, study it, and discover what your purpose or your path is. And I will make a distinction between purpose and passion.
Okay.
They are very different things. And some people think when I say purpose, oh, do what you love. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about passion or your desires. What I found is when I was in my first computer business, I started that business out of a place of passion. Because in 1999, 2000, when I first started that business, it was the internet was all the rage, computer networking, all that kind of stuff, e-commerce. It was all, so I'm passionate about that. I think that's the future. I want to make money in that. And so after a number of years when things weren't going right and I found a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges, I realized I didn't want to be in that space anymore. And so what is purpose? What is passion? Purpose, when you find it, will fuel you to go forward regardless of any challenges, any obstacles that come your way. Whereas passion will soon die down. And purpose is the thing that will keep you going. So in answer to your question, find a coach or a trainer, find a course, find a book, find out what it is you're supposed to be doing and live that. Sometimes purpose and passion are nicely married together. Sometimes they're not. If you can find something that is on passion, you're passionate about, and it's on purpose, great. The other secret is this: what some people don't realize is that you can do something purposefully, but the secret is to find something that the marketplace also wants. Because if you can find something that the marketplace also wants, now you can get paid for living on your purpose. This is the secret a lot of people miss. Some people think, yeah, I'm living on purpose, but they financially struggling. And I believe God, the universe, is abundant. And if you're financially struggling, there's something missing. There's something missing, right? And so you can study that and find out what that is. And in the market, when I talk about the marketplace, what is it you have to do in exchange of value and money? So what is it you can give from a purpose-driven place that a marketplace is saying, yes, I value that. Let me give you this. Let me give you what you're asking for. Let me give you your value. And you know, in the world we live in, that's money. That's currency.
Awesome. So it sounds like you're talking about actually potentially sometimes finding solutions to problem, right? Because people tend to be willing to pay for what they see, which might be the value add in terms of what they might be struggling with or how they see it might help them to achieve the end goal. So part of that secret is actually, how do you identify what does this person need that they haven't got that they're willing to pay for, right?
Not only that, Ade, it's bigger than that. See, in the market, one thing I teach at my boot camp is this: the only reason anyone gives you any money or transfers money from their bank account to yours, or takes money from their purse and gives it to you, or from their wallet, is because they have a problem that they don't want. And there's a result they want that they don't have. So if you can identify what is the problem, so you discover your purpose, then you say, with that purpose, okay, who has certain problems in relation to what I am able to give? Okay, these people have a problem. Okay, so they have a problem they don't want. So what result or what solution can I give them that they don't currently have? That's the secret of making a lot of money in business. Many people don't, even people who've been in business for 20, 25 years do not understand. They come to my boot camp and I share this, and give them some processes and formulas. They go, huh. And I learned those things from the hard way of being minus $100,000 in debt to, there was time when I was so broke that, when I walked down Oxford Street, the people and the people sleeping rough had more money than me. It was bad. It was bad. So I feel blessed because I was able to say, hey, Kay, and these days my wife and I, we give thousands of pounds away every month to needy people who need it. And there's a lot of people who are falling onto hard times in this pandemic era. But a secret to really having a successful business is understanding the concept of people have problems that they don't want and results that they don't have.
Wow, that's a powerful gem there. I think that's worth quite a bit. When I say quite a bit, that's an understatement, especially in the world that we live in right now, because lots of people. So here goes on to my next question then. So you touched on, we're in a pandemic. In your mind, I know what I think. In your mind, opportunity or crisis?
Good question. Opportunity or crisis? Both. It's both an opportunity. It's definitely a crisis. I didn't design it. I didn't create it. You didn't create it. It's happened, and I don't want to go down that line, but it's happened. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, and in this situation we're in, there are both opportunities. There is a crisis, but there's also opportunity. I've had clients during the pandemic who were stuck, didn't know what to do, and some of them have made more money in their business during the pandemic than they did in 2019, 2018. Why? Because they looked at I changed their mindset to look at the opportunity, right? My wife and I have got lots of apartments around the Heathrow area, right? Which that particular business, we have 5 different businesses. That particular business deals with, how do you call it? It's serviced accommodation, serviced apartments. So people will fly in from wherever in the world, and they'll book an apartment, and so full business, all set up. But when the pandemic hit, it's like no one's flying in. No one's coming into Heathrow. Airbnb, Expedia, all these things dried up. So what do? So the team on that side of the business, one of the clever things they did, they contacted the local authorities and said, look, we've got these apartments available. If you have anyone who is looking for accommodation in the Heathrow area or in London, can't find these available. So guess what? That business revives and kicks off again. rather than and the one of the problems that a lot of our competitors sat back and did nothing. Sat back and did nothing. Same as my training and coaching business. You know, I was flying, you know, several times a month, like yourself, out the country, go and teach, come back, and so that training business suddenly ground to a halt. So what do? So we pivoted everything onto online, virtually. So we're doing virtual events. It's not the same, but it's the value that people want. It's the quality of information that people want. And so we deliver that. I know, I vaguely remember, I think you kicked off Circulate and what you're doing during the pandemic. I think you did, because I'm watching. Yep. I said, there's my man, Ade, not sitting back. He's saying, look, what can I do? What difference can I make? Boom, virtual, let's go. Well, there are people who sat back, and there are people still sitting back. I remember what happened in, I think we went into lockdown the first time around just the end of March. And and so many people saying, yeah, this will be done in about June, July. This will be done in June or July. June, July came, nothing. But I remember that we got so many clients all over the world, and our coaches coach our clients all over the world. And so when these lockdowns were happening, I'm thinking, wow, what are we going to do? So I did a lot of free webinars, just to get people into a state of what's the crisis is there, it's there. What's the opportunity? What can you do? What can we do? So there were people, we had clients who owned restaurants. We quickly got them to pivot to just takeaway and doing it and providing menus online and charging for different things, and we'll ship the ingredients to you. Just follow our, you know, so there's things you can do. But the key thing here, Ade, the difference between those who will survive these situations and those who won't is what I call, and I teach, is the champion mindset. And the champion mindset is very much about the obstacles that are thrown at you. Have you developed yourself so much so that you can say, yes, it's painful, yes, it's uncomfortable, but can I go into it and see what happens? Right? And I shared something with my audience a couple of weeks ago. I said, you know, Usain Bolt is a champion, and you think he's got a champion mindset. Now, and I said to my audience, do you think Usain Bolt likes training? Do you think he loves training, turning up? I mean, he's not competing now, but back in the day, do you think I'll ask you, Ade, do you think he loved to train, turn up and compete? I mean, compete. Do you think he liked to train?
No, when you said that, the reason why I started laughing, it reminded me of something that Muhammad Ali used to say. He hated going to the gym and training.
There you go.
He hated it. He did what needed to be done.
Thank you. And Usain Bolt was the same. You look at his face, and his coach would look at him and say, well, you know that American, I can't remember, Garrick, he's going to beat you. Oh, now you've got Usain fired up. Now you've got him fired up. Now he's going to be turning up. He's going to train, although he didn't want to. Now he's getting ready for that Olympics in 4 years' time. And same as us, as small business owners or employees or whatever, what are we doing? What are we doing to train ourselves in preparation for these opportunities that are coming? We are in a crisis. Now, anybody in the last 9 months, if you have not developed yourself while you've been at home, then there's something you're missing. If you have not even tried to learn about stocks, or learn about real estate property, or learn about self-development, or learn about yourself and what difference can you make, if you haven't ordered a book from Amazon, if you haven't watched some YouTube videos, I'm not saying there's lots of free information, but if you have not done anything to develop yourself, you're not training yourself, guess what? Life is always going to be tough. And the reason why I know that is I've seen it too many times. I've trained hundreds of thousands of people around the world. Back in 2003, 2004, when I was struggling and money wasn't right for me and I was in debt, guess what? I had the ego that I've got an MBA. I know everything I need to know. So if I was academically qualified, why am I struggling as an entrepreneur? Because it's two different things to be academically successful and entrepreneurial successful. It's two different things. It's two different things to have the most degrees and still not up the corporate ladder if that's where you want to be. Two different things, two different mindsets. So it's the champion mind that I'm talking about. The opposite of the champion mind, I find a lot of the time, is the victim mind. And the victim mind is, well, the government has done this, the government has shut this down, the government can't make, and my wife this, my dog this, my cat this, my husband this. You know, that people will blame, they'll justify, they'll deny until they come to nowhere but to point at themselves. And that's where I was in 2004, 2005. It's like, no, I created that. No, I messed that up. I messed that up. So now come out from playing the victim and say, okay, so what am I going to do now? And so lucky I had some people who really I listened to, I took action, and things changed for me. So now I'm in a position to help others as well.
Wow. I mean, that's very powerful. And even when you were saying that, it reminded me back of my journey. When I came to Tony Robbins, I think my property business, which was turning over millions of pounds worth of property at that time, went bust and then left me with nothing. But I was busy doing this, pointing the finger. And I can't remember if it was Tony Robbins or somebody who said that when you point the finger, one finger's pointing forward and all the other ones point at you. And I'm like, wow, okay. And like you said, it's recognizing that actually we need to invest in self. Invest in learning what we don't know. And it's that whole Jehovah's Windows scenario, right? The more we actually explore and find out what we don't know about ourselves, the more we realize what we don't know about ourselves, and therefore expand on what we do know about ourselves, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's constant learning. Don't stop. That's the secret of most successful people. Constant learning, right? Either you're learning from a mentor or a coach or an advisor, from a book, from a workshop, from a seminar. Constant learning and improving yourself.
So a lot of what you're talking about there seems to be, I mean, you're a established business coach. You've worked with hundreds of thousands of people around the world. Some people might have thought, hey, this guy's just going to give us tips about, you know, go and do this in your business, change this process and whatnot. But you seem to be talking a lot about the mindset. So in your experience, how likely is it for somebody to be able to build and grow their business without also investing in their own personal growth as well?
Right. Okay. How likely? So let me give you the answer to that. There are many people who have done it. There are many people who've grown a business and without, how can I put it? Without educating himself in the traditional sense in terms of learning from books and all that kind of stuff, okay? Many people have done it. But the problem is that I've had people who've come to me for help where they've been in business for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And suddenly what they thought they knew, things have changed. But a lot of people come to me during the pandemic. What they thought they knew, things have changed. And the reason why they couldn't adapt is because, they had a fixed mindset. And the fixed mindset is, this is how we do it. And you know, when you go on that personal development journey, the real personal development starts when that thing hits the fan. When the things are not going right, now are you prepared to deal with that? And so most people are not. And so you could build a very successful business. And if you don't have the right mindset, the champion mindset, as I call it, to transition, to transform, to do something else, guess what? You'll soon go down. And it's happened to a lot of people. So yes, you can do it. But my recommendation is really seek support, whether it's an advisor, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a coach. You know, why do people pay Anthony Robbins $1 million or $1 million a year just to have him on the other side of the phone? You know, why do they do that? Because when they're stuck in the moment of need, and it's like they can't figure it out, you know, your mind will only take you to where you know, but someone can look at it from the outside and say, have you considered this? And you go, aha, that may save you. And that's why I have 4 coaches who coach me.
That's the important thing, right? So even like myself, even though I'm a coach, I have loads of mentors.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I'm constantly just recognizing whether it's in the area of spirituality, finance, business, regardless of what I think I might be able to do. There's so much more that I don't know, can't see. and they help me to see those blind spots and help, kind of push me forward and, move beyond my own comfort zone, because we all have them, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, indeed. Indeed. So that's an answer to your question. Yes, you can do it, but at some point when things don't go right, that's when your metal's tested.
Yeah, and interesting enough, there's some people who actually do make it, but can't hold on to it, because there's also look at all those things that are insidious, i.e. our self-sabotaging behaviors and all the other bits and pieces that go along with success, go along with the journey, which sometimes we can't even see or blind spotted about. Okay, awesome. So I've got a question for you. The fourth industrial revolution. How do you see that impacting traditional businesses, especially now that we're in? Actually, let me roll that back, because there's something that you said before, the fixed mindset, right? The fixed mindset is definitely not going to be able to survive in this new world.
No way.
Because nothing is fixed anymore, right?
No way.
You all thought and held on to, oh yeah, a couple months, we'll be back to normal. Like I was saying to people, what does normal look like now? What do you actually mean by normal?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so that's totally changed. So that's going to require, and a lot of the work I do is in the area of agility and lean, which is adapting to change. How do you quickly adapt to change? How do you adapt to the unexpected when you don't even know what's about to hit you, but position yourself in such a way that you can be able to adapt to that, which is having that kind of flexible mindset. And I love the use of the word that you use quite a lot, which is that pivot. When do you recognize, based on the feedback that you're getting, the empirical data, that actually this is the time for me to change direction, change the model, because things have changed in the real world?
Yeah, exactly. So fourth industrial revolution. So what does that mean? So we are already in it. The whole pandemic has just sped things up a little bit. The government is doing whatever they can to roll out 5G, internet everywhere. I mean, it's already here. About 5 years ago, I was saying to people, watch what Amazon are doing, right? And they were rolling out their warehouses where there was only 10% staff, right? Because these robots were doing automated all the work.
Yep.
All the robots, I mean, people, so that's all the fourth industrial revolution is it's already here, and things are going to speed up very quickly. You're in the technology space, so you know what I'm talking about. Things are happening at lightning pace. You think about the pandemic, there were 80-year-olds who never heard of Zoom, suddenly want to talk to their grandchildren, had to learn Zoom very quickly, right? And maybe you and I have been using Zoom for years, but during 2020, lots of people had to jump onto WebEx, Zoom, whatever, Microsoft Teams, whatever it is. So what I say to people is, do not keep yourself away from these technologies, because I'm not going to say it's going to be the new normal, but that's the way we're going, right? Whether it's business, whether it's home life, whether it's, the way the kids are learning, the way, we find our kids at home learning. I mean, now they go without interacting effectively with teachers. So it's already here. Now, what does it mean to your job? What does it mean to your business? That's a consideration. And so those people who are coming to my business boot camp, I'm getting them to think differently, to say, okay, what is the opportunity that I have with my current business that will allow me to survive into the future? What is the opportunity that I have in starting a new business that I really, my future destiny, financial destiny, is in my hands? And so people start thinking, and I've got processes I'll take people through to say, okay, what is it? What is it? What is it? So we start from what is the problem, and then then we work around the problem and actually create a solution for that. But that is based on your purpose, who you are, where you're coming from, your expertise, what excites you. It's also coming from your experiences. So all those will make a difference in order to get into the kind of business you want to get into. And as all this technology rolls out, don't be shy of them, embrace them, learn it, right? We did our first Clubhouse thing a few days ago. And I'm thinking, every single year something rolls out and I'm thinking, is this just another distraction? Is this just another thing? Should I be getting involved in that? And my team was saying, yeah, go and check it out, because nobody knows. So we go and check it out. We have some nice conversations. It goes well. So I'm thinking that's another technology. And I was very impressed by the platform. So nobody says you have to be fixed on that platform, but test it out and see, okay, how does this support me personally, professionally, and commercially? How does it support me? And embrace what works for you, test it out, and move on. So for me, it's all about embracing it. Don't run away from it. Otherwise, you will be left behind.
And Spartan and Clubhouse is also another interesting piece of technology. It came about in the pandemic in response to the fact that people are self-isolating. It's only in its beta stage still.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why they limit the number of people that you can invite. It's only available on iPhones,
Correct.
not on Android yet, because it's still in beta. So that's a lean startup type approach. How do you test the market? And it's already valued at about 100 million.
Just like that.
Just like that. Just run into a problem. And we live in an age right now. That's the great thing about the fourth industrial revolution, where people can come up with ideas in their house, use available technology to come up with solutions, which quickly you could sell off for a few million, if not more, right? And make serious money. The great thing that I love about the fourth industrial, as you know, I've been working in many years in the tech as a lean and agile consultant, working with large organizations. So typically it's organizations like your Barclays, your Lloyds, your Bowens, those type of organizations who for a while have had the foresight and recognized that actually the world is going digital. How do we start changing our offerings? And some of them have been around for hundreds of years. How do we change our offerings? How do we change our structure? How do we even start changing the way we think across all of our, our organization globally to actually be ready? And a lot of these organizations, this pandemic, which nobody could predict, has come. But it's like business as usual. We were ready for this. We were ready for this. We didn't know it was going to be this, but we were ready for whatever came our way. And one of the other things that I really do love about the fourth industrial revolution is originally we had the steam revolution. That required a lot of money. So to make locomotive trains and all of that stuff, that required a lot of money, a lot of resources. Then we had the industrial revolution. Once again, high barriers to entry, lots of money, lots of resources. Then we moved into kind of the computer phases, which was medium entry, but still you needed money to build your Apples, to build the computers, to build the phones. And now we are in the fourth industrial revolution, which is all about connectivity. We're already using that technology where we use our phone to be able to turn on our heating when we're out and all that. Not goes out anymore, so you might not use that app, but whatever, all those type of things. Internet of Things and all of that. These provide really, really great opportunity. Wow. So somebody, thanks to Sapphire. So look at that. Clubhouse is now valued at 1 billion as of yesterday.
Really? And it keeps climbing.
That's just technology. It's just a platform.
It's technology. That's right.
It's just a platform.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
Awesome.
And it's going to grow.
It's going to grow. It's going to grow. And I guess they'll just sell it off and then take that money and then buy some more technology. And I guess that's really where we need to start getting. So we have a question from Sapphire. Hey, Sapphire, and hey, Alexander as well. Thank you for your contribution. So do we have to change our thinking in order to adapt to the new way of life? My answer to that would be definitely yes, but I'd like to say.
Big yes. A big yes. A big yes. The what got you to where you are now is not what's going to get you to where you want to go. So definitely you have to change your thinking and think differently, because things are changing. Keep growing, keep learning. Whatever field you're in, see if you can master that. Whatever field you think you want to be in, master it. And look, read 6 books, read 10 books. Once you've read 10 of the same books in that field, you will know it more than most people. You will know where things are going in your field. Really know it well. So keep learning, don't stop.
No, I totally hear you on that one. The world is, I love this saying that the world will never be, change in the world will never be as slow as it is today. Change is going to just keep on speeding up. As more and more technologies come on board and collide, we're going to see exponential growth. You're just going to see so many different options and so many different things are happening. And I think this provides people with a great opportunity, if they have the right mindset and the right hunger, to reset the dial. It's a chance to actually go after all the things that, you dreamed of. Is it there? We've got, with the cloud, technology, 5G, all of this, there's just so many possibilities. And it just, for me, I think this is a very exciting time. Yeah. Those individuals who could grasp that. I mean, right now I'm just still wow, 1 billion in how many months?
Amazing.
Just look at that. It's just an idea. Okay, so now here's a quick question I've got for you as well. So as a business consultant and coach, I work with, like I said, organizations, and at various points, and clients at various points, they want to scale. And sometimes they are scaling too early. Some of those who listen to the advice, who take time to actually roll back their scaling ambitions and look at ways how they can actually systemize things and provide themselves with a strong foundation that enables them to build it and scale sustainably, tend to do well. Others, well, get too excited and want to just shoot off and then, hey, let's go, and have all the other challenges that go with it. And then usually they come back with their tails in between their legs saying, oh, help. What's your views about that, or your experience in that?
I struggled in business for years and years, right? And when I fixed my situation and I sold my business eventually, and I started working with other people and helping them, and I started to see patterns year after year working with business owners. And in 2016, I wrote this book here. I wrote Face It and Fix It, and it became a #1 international bestseller. Awesome. Now, the reason why I wrote this book, people kept asking me the same questions in business. But the preface of that book was, I realized there are 43 reasons why any business fails. Because I've done the research, 43 different reasons why any business fails. And one of them is exactly what you said, that people think, well, let's scale, when their foundation is not set, when their foundation is not right. And guess what? Yep, sales are coming in, but what does profit look like? Oh, it's going out so fast. Sales are coming in, but your staff are not, stable. They keep leaving. You have to keep recruiting. When stability is not there and you're scaling too fast, you will have a crash at some point. So I agree with you totally. Build a solid foundation. Make sure you got things in systems and processes in place. And so the way we approach it at Mindspace, my coaching company, is that we start from the top and then we show them the various levels that you must have in place, all the way down to systemizing and automating, as well as putting a structure and team in place to follow those systems. And without that, you will grow through sales and marketing, but you will have a crash and a burn at some point, especially when there's poor leadership and the team are allowed to do whatever they want and there's no set rules or policies and procedures in place.
And I guess so those people who might be listening out there as well, this is also a good time to make the distinction between being self-employed and having a business. I usually say a business is something that can run without you. So if you're not there, hey, it just runs, right? If you're away in the Bahamas, okay, actually you can't go to the Bahamas now, but if you're sleeping, it's making money. But if it's dependent on you, actually success can be a really bad thing when it's just dependent on you, because you've got to work harder. And it burns you out, like you said, the passion goes, your health. It can actually be a killer. It can really have an impact. Awesome. All right. So as we start wrapping up, now I know you're into sales.
So I am, yes.
Well, of course you are, because you build businesses.
You're in business. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm listening to your question. Go ahead.
So the question is, what's the secret code to selling anything?
Okay, the secret to selling anything, and when we say anything, I'm talking about stuff in your space, to your clients, is really about building a relationship. It's about me. I'm talking to Ade. What I'm going to do is I'm going to listen more than I'm talking. So I'm going to ask.
2 ears, 1 mouth.
2 ears, 1 mouth. Use it in that proportion. Absolutely. So what I want to know from Ade is that what are the problems or the challenges Ade is having? So I'm asking questions around that. At the same time, I'm asking questions about Ade as a human being, because he's a human being. He's not, even if he works for a corporate company and is buying from me, whether he works for himself, but he's a human being. So in building, so by asking questions and really getting into Ade's world, both from a personal and not too personal, but from a personal and from a professional or business or whatever challenges he has point of view, Ade is going to start thinking that, hey, this guy really cares. It's not just about him flogging me anything. So once you could, I call that getting a shared reality. Getting a shared reality. So if someone says, I've got 3 kids, and you have 2 kids, mention that. Oh, I know what it's like. I've got 2 kids as well. So it must be
building rapport, right?
You're building rapport. So by having that shared reality, and the shared reality comes from, so building rapport comes from 3 things: going into their world, having a shared reality. So now we are similar. You know, you like football, I like football, or you like sports, I like sports, or you know, you like this book, I like this book, similar books, whatever. When we have a shared reality, I'm asking enough questions, and I'm interested in you rather than being interested in me. So, for example, some people go straight into the pitch and say, "Oh, this is our company. We've been around since 1995, and blah 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 blah."
Good for you.
Good for you. What's that got to do with me?
Yeah.
So the secret is really getting into their world, so they feel that you've heard them, you understand them, you can articulate their problems, and they feel that they now like you a bit more, they can trust you a bit more, and they're willing to give you money. And if you can't build that, selling is going to be very, very difficult. Now, there are some people who don't like selling at all. The notion of selling, they don't want to do that. And I teach people how to sell. And the people I found invariably that don't like selling is because they sell in something that they don't believe in.
Gotcha.
They don't believe in it, right? If you have a product or a service that you know is going to make a major impact on someone's livelihood, their life, their business, and you're going to keep quiet about it, now you're being selfish. You're being selfish. You're making it about you and not showing people out there. And some people say to me, but if I start talking about it, you know, my family and friends will see it on Facebook and Instagram. I say to them, look, I say, those people are never going to buy from you. Exactly. They're not your clients. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about if they see it. You are there to be helping this group of people. Go and help them, and they'll come to you, right? And when I say to them, you know, even if your family and friends see it and you're doing good stuff, is that worth applauding? Okay, good. So don't make it about you. Make it about the people you're there to help. And that's why I spend a lot of time on purpose-driven businesses. If you're doing it on purpose, doesn't matter what. If you've got a cure for cancer and you know you can change the lives of millions of people, don't tell me you're going to be quiet about that. Do not tell me you're going to be quiet about that. You know, the pharmaceuticals may not want to hear it, but you want to do what you can to help those people.
Of course, and I think that's a great point that you make. Then it makes that connection that when somebody's got a purpose that they recognize, it gives them some congruency, right? Like you said before, it helps us to be able to overcome the challenges and the inertia. I don't want to get up today, but you know what? I've got a bigger reason, which is bigger than myself. And I don't want people to see my post on, but you know what I've got to offer for people is actually going to change people's lives. And so, I mean, that becomes like that key drive that really makes a big difference, right? And once we got that congruency, actually after a while, because I used to be one of those people as well who didn't like selling. And similarly, it was for those reasons because I didn't believe in what I was selling. But actually, when I aligned myself with my purpose and saw the value that I got, I actually don't sell anymore. Just like, hey, here's your problem. I can sort it. Do you want what I got? That's fine. It's okay. It's no problem. No pressure. Whatever. Get on with it. Awesome.
So in that moment, the biggest sale that we all ever have to make is to sell to ourselves.
There you go. It's this.
To sell ourselves on the fact that, hey, actually, this is going to make a difference to some people. I'm okay with it. Like you said, I'm congruent with it. Now let me go and offer it. You know, if you don't even use the word sell, like you said, have fun with it. I'm going to tell them about it. I'm going to advise them about it. I'm going to consult them about it. I'm going to show them how it's going to, don't call it selling, but at the end of the day, we're all selling.
It's an offering, right? It's like it works for you, it doesn't work for you. That's fine. That's life.
That's it.
No problem. We get on with it.
That's it.
You've given so much. Now, I just want to quickly touch on something, which is this. So I find that in my role, oftentimes I am the only black male or sometimes only black person operating in the boardrooms or the areas I find myself. Even as a keynote speaker, more often, especially when I'm speaking at gigs around the world, whether it's Dubai or America. Sometimes I'm most of the time, if I'm going to be honest, the only black person who's actually keynote speaking, which comes with its interesting challenges, right? That we can't just pretend don't happen. My question is, because I know you also, or I'm assuming you also have some of similar experiences. When you find yourself to be the only black male in the room, how do you overcome racial stereotypes and deal with the other obstacles that come along with who we are?
Good question. Good question. You know, I've trained all over the world. You know, whether it's in South Africa, Ghana, you know, parts of Africa, all over Asia, Thailand, Philippines, you know, Malaysia, Singapore, all over America, South America, you know, all over Europe, So every nationality, you know, that every continent, mostly I've trained and spoken in. And one of the secret weapons I have is this: when I go into those countries, I know what's going to happen. I know, you know, some countries I know exactly how it's going to be, you know, and I have fun with it, in a sense that, you know, in a sense that, you know, the look.
As soon as the airplane doors open, it's
you
like,
know the look. Yeah. So I condition my mind. I just smile and get on my business. I just get a smile and get along with my business. And one thing I've learned from speaking on stages around the world is this: when you come on, it's like they announce you and then you turn up. It's like, okay, who's this guy? I've never heard of him. Now I see their faces. But I tell you something, I have a process I go through that within the first 5 minutes, they're with me. Within 5 minutes, they're with me. And it's no longer about the differences we have, but the shared reality that we have. And once we hit on that shared reality, then, okay. And one of the things I teach in my speaker training is this: that when you step up on stage, people actually want you to win. They don't want you to trip up. They want you to win, in a sense that they've paid good money or they've spent a lot of time to be here with their energy. And you've been on stage. They want you to give value. So they actually want you to win. So I focus on adding massive value.
There you go.
So much value that, like, the thing becomes insignificant. I know it's still there. I know it's still there. I know it's not going to go. I know it's still there and people have issues with it. But most people I've found want you to win. So I just have that mindset and deliver. You know, when I study other black leaders and the stuff that they went through, the stuff I had to go through, and I think, okay, this is my situation, and all I got to do is just give the best I can. When I look at, you know, Martin Luther King, when I look at even in recent times, Barack Obama going to certain countries and people won't even shake his hand.
Of course.
Right? I think, okay, if this is my lot and I'm here to deliver my mission, let's go. So I don't let it eat in my mind too much. I don't focus on it. I focus on adding value. I just focus on them, so much so they can't deny me. They can't run away now.
I'm so glad you put it that way. And it seems like we've both developed similar mechanisms for dealing with it, right? Because that's exactly me as well. It's just recognizing that actually give them so much undeniable value that they can't see whatever. And to me, that's their issue. I've also learned that it's not my issue, it's their issue.
Absolutely.
If I step up and deliver value, my experience has taught me time and time again that they just don't see that anymore. All they just see is this guy's got the answer to my problems.
There you go.
For him. This
there
is the guy. Yeah, bring him along.
There you go. Make it about them. Add so much value. Love them so much, even if they've got that thing. Because don't forget, we live in the world where some people are going to have this subconscious bias.
Of course, it's just this.
It's an unconscious bias. It's because the things have been set up against us. Okay, the media. Then you know what I'm talking about, because it's been set up against us. When you show up and you don't live that, and you're presenting it, you actually boggle their mind. It's like,
I call that disruption, because
it's
like
disruption.
they've got a template, a stereotype, and it's like, oh, here we go again, and it's like, whoa, hang about, what?
There you go.
This guy doesn't fit with what, and it causes some people to start re-questioning what they thought, right?
Exactly. You see, and the reality becomes different. So, you know, you and I, whoever else is listening, go out there and add so much value that actually we start changing that representation. You understand? We start changing that dialogue. We start changing that rhetoric. So we got work to do. You know, there's a lot of work to do. So when I say live purposefully, I seriously mean that from a business point of view. I can give people strategies around business, around sales, around business growth. I do that all day long in my workshops, in my seminars, in my teaching, in my coaching. But the biggest thing is the mindset and actually running a purposefully driven business and being purposeful yourself.
And know that, you know what I mean, it's making sure you have the right values in place as well, right? Building it from your own value system, ensuring that you live with that, being congruent with that, and showing up and showing out and just delivering. And yeah, I mean, I just love that. And so for all those people listening out there, I'm sure many other people living that way as well. What's this question we have in? This is from Alex. Do you find our own backgrounds are as hard to deal with as the corporate when giving fine advice? I'm not sure I fully understand that question, Alexander. Do you want to expand on that a bit more, please? And then, yeah, myself and Matt can offer up what we think around that. But I mean, yeah, Matt, it's just spot on. I mean, it's just great to see the great stuff that you're doing out there, that you're living it, you're having impact, you're changing lives, you're changing perceptions, you're just helping people to adapt. And I can see that there's going to be a lot more need for people like you and the work that you do in this new world, because a lot of people, as we know, the learned inherit the world that used to be, but it's the learners who inherit the world of today, right? Absolutely. And a lot of people right now are stuck. They're just like, whoa, I can't figure this out. I've lived like this for 20 years, and all of a sudden, what am I supposed to do? I don't know where to go. So I can see how people are going to need a lot more of what you're offering. So as we start wrapping up, I've got two more questions for you.
Sure.
Alexander, do feel free, like I said, to expand on that question, and I will pose it to Mac as well. What one thing do you know now about business that you wish you knew from day one?
One thing I knew about business. Actually, the best way to do it is this. You know, early last year, I published my 4th book, The Millionaire Moment, right? So in 2020, just before we went to lockdown, I published this on Amazon. And it's really The Millionaire Moment. It's about my rags to riches story and what happened to me. And there's a lot of research around how our thoughts shape our financial destiny. I had poor thinking. When I was broke and I was struggling, I had poor thinking, poverty thinking. Inadvertently, I'd acquired that from wherever I acquired it from.
Of course.
And so one thing that I would say to people, if you want to change your life, whether it's financial, relationship, otherwise, learn how this works. Learn how your mind controls, actually creates your reality, how your mind creates your destiny, how your mind creates your outcome. And so I would have studied that faster, sooner, and I would have taken more risk.
I'm glad you said that. Metaphysics has actually shown that. So I'm really like looking at metaphysics, and we've talked about the secret. If you look at the Bible, the Bible constantly talks about as a man thinketh, so shall it be.
Correct.
Manifest. And metaphysics has actually shown that actually there is the matter and space, and we won't go into all these other things which actually align with our thoughts, and actually we all create our own realities. And through what we think, we find through our cognitive biases, we act, because the human being has to, at a fundamental level, act consistently with the way it thinks, even at a subconscious level. So we act, we do things unknowingly, we attract things even unconsciously through our energies that align with whatever we're thinking. So actually the key really is this.
Yeah.
We can win this battle inside, then everything else flows to us.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you said that. Yeah, I hear you on that one. You see, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Well, no, I didn't know that for years and years. And it's only when I started studying it, I thought, wow, okay, now I can see how I created that. You know, if every day, during there was some incidences during the first lockdown. I had some clients around Europe and will dial into the webinar, and one of the clients would come in, and I could see something wasn't right. Cut a long story short, said, what's wrong? She said, I'm not feeling well, I'm starting to feel sick and all this. So I said, when did that come on? She said, you know, just in this week. And it was the same week as lockdown, okay? So I said, every morning when you wake up, what is it you're doing? She goes, I get up, I put the news on. And so I said, so that's what you do. And when you put the news on, what are you hearing? Yeah, I need to keep updated. And at that time, I don't know if you remember, it was like, the background was red, it was germs, it was this thing coming out of this. And I said, do you think that's affecting the way you're looking at things and doing things? She goes, she had to think for a minute. I said, for 1 week, do not watch any news. If you can't help yourself, just nip in the evening, have a look at it, turn it off. But don't do it first thing. The next week, she was feeling better. She wasn't feeling sick, right? Because one thing that happens, exactly what you said, is those thoughts will now start decreasing your immune system. And when it decreases your immune system, now you're being opened up to various illnesses or contracting various diseases or whatever. And I'm not saying, you know, it's a real issue out there, you know, whatever's created or whatever it's come from. But if you can control your thoughts in your mind, you are now going to create a better reality.
It's interesting that you should mention that, because actually that was my experience as well. So previously, for many years, I stopped listening to the news and reading newspaper for that reason. So I was regulating the information that I got. Obviously, when COVID hit, I found that for the first week or so, I'm just constantly watching the news, and this person's dying and this place is in lockdown. And all of a sudden, I started feeling really tired, really negative. And all of a sudden, guess what? Even in my mind, a couple of times I caught COVID. It's like, oh shit, I got COVID. I got COVID. Oh my gosh, right? And then I just remembered, hey, dude, you're absorbing a lot of stuff. And then I stopped watching the news again. So things like, even when the election happened, people have to tell me, I'm like, what? There's an election? Oh, okay. It's like, oh yeah, we're going into another lockdown. Is it? Because I just don't keep up to date with anything anymore. I'm behind. I'm just like, well, if it's something important that's going to affect me, somebody will pick up the phone and tell me. Otherwise, I'm okay with being a few days late behind it. But where you been? Like, I haven't been on TV. I don't know what's happening. So I hate that one. One last question as well for you then is this. Many people are watching right now, obviously, like we touched on before, dealing with uncertainty, a new world, which they just might not be able to fathom what that means for them. People have lost their businesses, lost their jobs. It's just like everything that they've known has disappeared. What one piece of advice would you leave them with?
You know, first of all, Ade, what I'd say is, if you're in a situation where you've lost your job or your business has gone under, or, you know, you're pending bankruptcy, whatever, you know, sorry to hear that, you know, and my heart goes out to you that you can find something within yourself to change that situation. Or no, and certainly I've said to my clients as well, if the situation, the crisis we're in says, look, you can't run this business anymore, it's gone under, let it go. Let it go and say, okay, what can I put my energy in to create a better reality, create a better situation? So, you know, if you lose your job, you lose your business, it's not the end of the world, okay? If you've got your health, got a sound mind, then you can do something. There's something you can do. And I'm not saying this is easy, trust me. I've been from a place where I was struggling, no money, you know, I will pay my bills next month, you know, I've been there. So I know it's not nice. And the reason why I teach the way I teach is because I know that if you can start looking at things differently, from a different perspective, with a different outlook, with a different type of mindset, now you have a possibility. But the moment you say there is nothing else for me, now you've locked yourself out of the possibilities. You talk about metaphysics, you talk about quantum physics, quantum reality, that our thoughts will create our reality. I deeply believe that. And so you talk about during pandemic, Clubhouses launched, someone's business is now worth $1 billion. I've got a friend who is mad on mobile apps. Every single year, a few months, he's created another mobile app, and he's selling those mobile apps. And the key thing is this: it comes from exactly what I was saying earlier on. That what's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem? And if you can understand that and say, okay, so these people have a problem. What's the solution I can provide? And then believe in yourself so much so that you're going to go out there and find a solution for that problem and put it to market and let people buy it. If you don't have the skills to do that, get help, get support, get someone who can help you to do that. And that's the way you're going to move forward.
I think that's a spot on piece of advice. For many years, I used to try and spend time improving my weaknesses. But then I learned and said, hang about, I've got strengths. My strengths are my strengths. And guess what? There's other people who my weaknesses are their strengths.
Yeah.
So I find people, you like that? You like doing the research? You like all that? Great. Here's something for you to start doing research.
Exactly.
I want to think about things and strategize and all of that. Awesome. Really appreciate it. So let's put up your details so people know how to get hold of you. So website, you can get hold of Mac at his website right there. Lots of great videos on there, so you can straight away get a feel for the value and authenticity. I mean, you've already experienced a snippet of it, that Mac offers, and there'll be some ideas, things to help you through this moment in time. Also, Insta, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Just type in Mac Attram. You'll find him. If you put him into Google, he'll pop up all over the place. So he's not hard to find, especially in the virtual world. And then also you can head on over to his page, which is Mac Attram page on Facebook. And once again, you'll be getting loads of content and stuff in regards to Circulate. So you can follow us on YouTube. Just type in Circulate, you find us. Insta, it's all about Circulate the Black Pound. Remember, the goal is to increase the amount of time and the length of time that the pound stays in the Black community. The intention is, as we're saying here, is how do we utilize this moment in time to actually build our position, our economic position and economic standing, so we can provide jobs, provide more things, provide more courses, all the type of stuff that we need to help us become. And here's the point I also make to a lot of people. This is not about it being excluding people. It's just recognizing that the whole is greater than the sum of those parts, and every community that can contribute and stand very strong economically just contributes to the whole human race being in better harmony. It's all about love. It's all about creating that harmony. Yeah. Facebook, catch us on the Circulate group. Also, there's the Circulate page as well. Awesome. So as we start wrapping up, once again, Mac, I really have enjoyed this conversation with you. It's been lovely. Thank you to all the listeners and everybody in the audience, everybody who's contributed. Alex, Sapphire, I can't see your name, but Facebook user, thank you very much for joining. And yeah, just want to say, really appreciate it. Thanks, Alex, as well. Much appreciated, guys, for the sound advice. Really, it's been a pleasure. Mac, once again, blessed and honored. Wishing you so much more success in what you're doing. And I'm hoping that you can actually more than double or triple the numbers. Why? Because it's not about you. You, for the hundreds of thousands of people's lives that you're touching, that's families, that's parents who are going to be better parents, better husbands, better wives, better people are going to go out and think beyond themselves and add to the solutions. We already know that the world has lots of problems, but what it needs is people who can think beyond themselves and focus on the solutions and come from a place which is value-driven, purpose-driven, and recognize that actually, you know what, together we can make this world a better place if we choose to.
Absolutely.
So, always much love, much respect.
Thank you, Ade. God bless you. Take care until we speak again. All right. Continue doing what you're doing. Continue doing what you're doing because it's much needed.
Well, like I said, when I got people like you to look up to and see, don't worry, bro. I'm watching you. Every time I say, bro, brother's doing good, So there's no time to rest on our levels. It inspires and it motivates me. So I really appreciate it. Yeah.
All right. Take care. Thanks again.
Yeah. Awesome.
Bye for now.